There exists an ancient law that many have overlooked. Everything in creation answers to its rightful name. Beasts, humans, even wealth itself. When you call a dog, it runs to your voice. When you summon money with understanding, it too responds. Yet countless people never utter its true title. They speak from fear, they speak from lack, and then wonder why prosperity never arrives. Tonight, I bring back to you this forgotten principle, the sacred power of naming. In this message, I will show you how to address money by divine law, to call it correctly so it cannot evade you. You will understand why careless speech repels abundance, why the tongue either multiplies or dissolves your good, and how a single shift in language transforms one into overflow. Before we finish, you will know the precise word that awakens supply and the law that compels it to serve you. You may have tried budgeting, saving, or pleading with heaven for financial rescue, yet the struggle persisted. Perhaps you've repeated affirmations that seemed fruitless, because your speech still labeled money wrongly. But tonight you will learn that idle talk carries the same force as positive decree. Each casual statement is a seed, and I will show you how to uproot the false ones and sow truth instead. Freedom begins when you realize money is not your ruler but your servant, and it responds faithfully to your voice. I will reveal how words attach vibration to substance, how the subconscious repeats every label you assign, and how right speech commands supply to appear. I will share the affirmations that drew money to my students' hands in mere days, and the exact language to inscribe, to speak, and to guard upon your lips. Together, we will unmask the false names, difficulty, expense, insufficiency, and replace them with truth. Stay until the end, for I will unveil one phrase that can dissolve debt like mist. A phrase so powerful most dare not speak it, yet once released, it alters everything. Most people miss this simple but eternal truth. All things in this universe answer to their names. Call a child and he turns. Call a friend across a crowd and she waves back. Why should money be any different? It is not lifeless metal or paper. It is energy clothed in form, a current that vibrates and recognizes the voice that names it. When addressed rightly, it must respond. Yet tragedy lies in the fact that most never do. They call it by false names, burden, cost, hardship, and then wonder why it flees. The law is unwavering. By your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. Condemn money and it departs. Bless it and it returns. Why? Because the subconscious mind records every word like a camera imprinting an image. It never argues, never excuses, never laughs at irony. It simply engraves and reproduces what it hears. I once knew a woman who joked that she might as well live out of a suitcase. She laughed, her friends laughed, but her subconscious wrote it as fact, and soon her home was gone, leaving her with only a trunk. What you call, you claim. Every name is a seed, and every seed brings its own harvest. Consider the phrases people repeat daily. It's hard to earn. Money slips away. I can't afford that. Each is a decree shaping your affairs. Speak lack and you reap lack. The tongue steers the entire vessel of life. Aim it toward scarcity and you sail straight into want. Aim it toward abundance and prosperity becomes your direction. If you say, money is divine, money obeys. Money serves me through grace. Your subconscious accepts the command, and reality reflects it as ease and plenty. You may wonder, how can words affect something so tangible? Yet how does a dog recognize its name? How does a person stop when called? It is vibration and recognition. So too with money. It knows its tone. Call it by lack and it hides. Call it by plenty and it comes near. Therefore never say, I can't afford this. Say instead, it comes to me through grace. Never declare, money is difficult. Replace it with, money is faithful and obedient. Do not lament that it leaves. Affirm, it multiplies as it serves me. If you have misnamed money, revoke those words now. Withdraw every false decree, every idle comment, and replace them with truth. Address money as ally, servant, and companion, and it will respond accordingly. The law cannot fail. What you name, you claim. Many live and lack not because the law is weak, but because their speech works against them. Each sigh of, I can't afford this, is a spell that binds. Each muttered, it always runs out, baptizes money in scarcity. The subconscious doesn't separate jest from command. It only records. The words you toss in frustration or amusement become the chains around your supply. I recall a woman who used to joke she'd end her days in poverty. Her circle found it humorous, but the law did not. It inscribed the decree, and eventually her wealth vanished, leaving her in the very condition she had spoken. Another student constantly complained, "Everything's too expensive." When she changed her confession to, "What I need appears, and I can afford it through grace," her life shifted dramatically. Gifts came, opportunities unfolded, and money began to flow, because she had renamed it. Understand this deeply. The universe does not distinguish between formal affirmations and idle chatter. Both bear fruit. If you speak truth for a few minutes yet contradict it the rest of the day, which seed will prevail? That is why every word must be watched. There are no harmless phrases. Each either summons money or sends it away. Perhaps you now realize you've spoken wrongly for years and wonder if it's too late. It is not. The same tongue that cursed can bless, the same voice that bound can free. Declare, "I erase every record of lack, debt, and limitation within my subconscious. They return to the void from which they came. I now inscribe perfect records of abundance, wealth, and divine supply." Speak this boldly, and you will feel old patterns crumble as new ones take root. Guard your mouth as you would guard treasure. Never again call money scarce or stubborn, for careless naming halts flow, but conscious naming releases it. When you call wealth by its true name, it comes eagerly and continually until your storehouses overflow. Now hear this reversal, the sacred counter to every false decree. If wrong words bind, right words liberate. If negative naming drives supply away, right naming draws it near. The law never chooses sides, it simply fulfills the vibration you send. The same tongue that shuts a door can open it. Speak rightly and the channels of supply swing wide. I once counseled a woman burdened with heavy debt. Her daily words were, "I'm always behind. There's never enough." I told her, "You are calling money your enemy, and it obeys." When she began to affirm, "Money is divine. Money arrives under grace. It multiplies as it blesses," her life reversed. Debts were cleared, gifts appeared, and freedom came, not because the world changed, but because her naming did. So what name will you now give to money? Will you keep calling it hard and distant, or will you call it faithful, generous, and present? Words are not mere sound. They are power condensed into vibration. Just as seeds produce after their kind, so do spoken words. Speak lack and reap lack. Speak plenty and reap plenty. You cannot sow thorns and expect roses. And if results do not appear at once, be patient. Seeds need time to sprout, and old grooves take time to smooth. Every right declaration cuts a new path in the subconscious. Each time you affirm, "Money is obedient. Money comes to me now under grace," you shift your vibration higher until reality aligns. Do not quit before the harvest, for the harvest must come. So from this moment forward, refuse to call money by any false name. Never say, "I can't afford it." Say, "Money serves me in divine ways." Never murmur, "It slips away." Say, "It multiplies as it blesses." Write these truths. Speak them morning and night. Watch how swiftly your world reflects your new decree. Debt does not begin on paper. It begins on the tongue. Each complaint, each sigh of "I owe too much," engraves that truth into form. The subconscious takes every word as law, and your conditions echo your speech. A man once came to me, bound by endless debt though he worked hard and earned well. His talk was filled with phrases like, "I'll never catch up," "I owe everyone." I told him, "You are naming yourself debtor, and life obeys." When he changed his language to, "God is my endless supply. I live in abundance. I pay all men and all men pay me. I am free from debt through grace," his situation transformed. Unexpected income arrived, debts dissolved, and freedom returned. The shift was not in effort but in word. Idle words are never idle, they are seeds. Sow want and you reap want. Sow wealth and you reap wealth. The harvest always mirrors the planting. The universe does not laugh at jokes, it records decrees. It is not intention that manifests, but utterance. Therefore retract every false name you have ever spoken. Declare, I now dissolve every mistaken record of debt in my subconscious. I replace them with divine abundance. My words are law, and my law is increase. They fade back into the dust of nothingness, for they were born from illusions of my own mind. I now inscribe the truth. I am released. I am provided for. I am rich. I am overflowing. Say it again and again until the new sound drowns the old echo. Look into your reflection and declare, money serves me, it does not rule me. Wealth flows to me, not debt. Increase comes, shortage disappears. As these words go forth, the atmosphere around you will rearrange, the outcome will turn, and invisible chains will crumble. Careless speech builds prisons, but conscious speech opens gates, and the choice remains in your hands. What I'm about to reveal is delicate yet has hindered more blessings than open disbelief. Many people guard against fear but let their lips wander freely, making jokes about scarcity, laughing at ruin, pretending poverty is funny, as though the subconscious can't tell the difference. But the inner mind doesn't laugh, dear one. It cannot separate jest from decree. It receives vibration as law, stamps the phrase into record, and returns it in visible form. A joke about lack carries the same vibration as a prophecy of it. Foolish humor brings foolish harvests. Many who believe themselves faithful are still tied, not by serious confessions, but by playful ones. I once knew a woman who lived in ease, yet constantly joked with her friends, saying, "I'll probably end up in a poorhouse." She laughed, they laughed, but life didn't find it funny. Her words etched the pattern. Years later her fortune vanished, her comforts fell away, and her jest became her living condition. She had spoken a curse disguised as humor. Another woman often said, "I'm broke. It's hilarious." Her friends laughed, but her affairs grew tighter until she was weary of want. I told her, "Stop making poverty a joke. Speak to money correctly. Name it abundant, faithful, and rightfully yours." When she stopped mocking her supply and spoke with truth, her situation began to shift. The laughter lost its binding power because it was no longer uttered in falsehood. Playful words can wound deeper than solemn ones, for they slip beneath awareness. You may never seriously say, "I will live in lack," but you might toss it out laughing, and your subconscious, loyal and exact, will not ignore it. It engraves the phrase and shapes your world accordingly. The law does not favor tone or intention. It only hears vibration. Whether whispered in jest or shouted in grief, every sound must return in form. This is why sacred text warns that every idle word is accounted for. Even the lightest remark carries weight in spirit. Therefore, never joke about need. Never call yourself broke, even for amusement. Never exaggerate misfortune for humor. Don't lace your laughter with despair, for every joke is a seed, and you will reap it. Replace false humor with joy born of truth. If you must joke, jest about overflow. Say, "I'm so blessed that even my shadow glitters." Say, "Money rushes toward me so fast I can hardly keep up." Let laughter harmonize with truth, and only good will follow. Guard your speech, for each word is a command, whether whispered softly or declared loudly. When you understand this, ignorance can no longer protect you. Choose your phrases as carefully as gems. Don't throw them away for laughter that costs your peace. Speak with delight, yes, but delight grounded in faith, not mockery. Then your laughter will free you rather than bind you, because it aligns with divine order. Beloved, what I tell you now may guard your entire manifestation. Once you master this and practice it, you'll never again sabotage your own prosperity. You must discipline your tongue, for it is both weapon and crown. Used carelessly it wounds, used wisely it reigns. The tongue is the rudder steering your existence. Though small, it directs your whole vessel. If your ship has been heading toward lack, if storms of debt have surrounded you, don't blame the sea or the wind. Check the rudder. What have you been declaring daily about your supply? Your tongue has charted your course, and only your tongue can redirect it. Controlling speech doesn't mean silence. It means mastery. Some believe restraint means muteness, but no. The tongue is not to be locked, but trained. Train it to bless, not to curse. Train it to speak creation, not destruction. Teach it to name wealth rightly, to prophesy increase rather than decline, to announce obedience rather than resistance. When you say, I can't afford this, you curse your flow. When you say, money comes to me gracefully and perfectly, you bless your path. Both are commands. Both instruct the subconscious. Both plant seeds. To guard your tongue is to catch false speech and immediately overturn it. Cancel the untrue decree and replace it with truth. I remember a student who repeated affirmations faithfully but saw little fruit. She came to me heavy-hearted, saying, I say my affirmations every morning, yet I still struggle. I asked, what do you say during the rest of your day? She hesitated, then admitted she often complained, I'm broke, I can't keep up, everything's too expensive. I told her, there lies your answer. You sow roses in the morning and weeds by noon. Which do you think will grow? She wept as realization dawned. From then on, she guarded her lips like a sentinel. Whenever tempted to speak lack, she corrected herself and declared, God is my constant, instant, and generous source. Soon, evidence appeared. Her finances blossomed like the roses she had finally allowed to live. Do you see how simple this law is? You don't need to strain or plead. You simply need to speak carefully. Every idle word drains the reservoir of your wealth. Every word of faith strengthens it. If you want freedom from want, build your reality with deliberate speech. Let your words be your shelter. Watch every utterance and allow only abundance through the door. Let your sentences carry truth, your tone carry faith, your mind carry peace. Say, I refuse to talk about lack. I will not joke about shortage. I will not misname money. My speech is sanctified. It creates, not destroys. It commands, not complains. When you do this, your words form a hedge of safety, a river of supply, and a fountain of joy. The tongue, when mastered, compels money to obey. Now understand this secret of the inner mind. That is why I tell you to write the word on your mirror instead of hiding it in a notebook. A mirror isn't just glass. It's a doorway to your inner self. When you look at it, you don't only see your features, you see your identity. The subconscious accepts whatever image you hold of yourself as fact. If you gaze at your reflection and sigh, calling yourself poor or tired, your inner mind records it and fulfills it. But if you face that mirror with the word of abundance before you, the subconscious unites with it, accepts it as self-definition, and produces its likeness. The mirror works because it repeats the message effortlessly. You may tire of verbal repetition, but the mirror repeats for you. Each glance reinforces the decree. Your eye catches it, your mind absorbs it, your spirit records it. Slowly, thought becomes river, and river becomes manifestation. So write your word where your reflection meets it daily. Let your image fuse with your declaration, for what you behold as yourself you become. I once knew a woman who took this literally. She wrote, wealth, boldly upon her mirror. She didn't force belief or strain for proof. She simply let the image dwell within her. Within a week, a surprise check of $50,000 arrived. The world called it coincidence, but it was law. She had joined vision and word, and creation responded. Why does this method hold such force? Because the mirror merges sound, sight, and emotion. To speak is powerful, but to see and feel it united with your face multiplies the vibration. When word, image, and feeling become one, the subconscious must obey. It cannot resist an impression so vivid, so treat your mirror as sacred. Approach it not with vanity, but with faith. Write boldly, speak confidently, feel joyfully, and your world will echo your reflection. But even as you declare, protect your seed. If you reveal it too soon, doubt may spoil it. Keep your decree between you and God until it bears fruit. Silence is not fear. It is preservation. The farmer doesn't dig up his seed to prove he planted it. He hides it until the sprout appears. Likewise, don't display your word before mockers. Don't expose your faith to cold disbelief. Secrecy shelters the growing seed. A woman once learned this lesson the hard way. She began affirming prosperity and quickly felt faith rise. But she shared it too freely, telling everyone. They laughed, questioned, and doubted. Their words chilled her faith, and nothing came. Later, she learned to hold her decree privately, and soon her results bloomed. Even Christ told those healed, tell no one, until the miracle was visible. A tender harvest must be shielded until strong enough to withstand unbelief. Silence guards because it trusts. It says, "My word is sacred. It is between me and the divine until it becomes visible. When it manifests, then testify boldly. Until then, guard it like treasure." And finally, the rain that awakens the seed, gratitude. Without thanksgiving, your decree stays dormant. With it, it bursts into life. Gratitude is proof of faith fulfilled. It doesn't beg, it celebrates. It declares, "I already have it." And the law responds, "So it is." Once I desired a rose tree. I didn't plead or plan. I simply envisioned it, gave thanks, and felt joy as though it already stood in bloom. The very next day, a florist sent one by mistake, or so it seemed. But it was no mistake. Gratitude had called it forth. Another student had only $2. I told her, "Bless it. See it as overflowing. Give thanks as though it were full." She did, and soon received 6,000. Gratitude multiplied her seed. Thanksgiving tells the subconscious the work is done. Fear asks, "What if it doesn't come?" Faith says, "It already has." And gratitude is the sound of faith fulfilled. When you praise God before seeing results, you collapse the space between longing and fulfillment. You step into the divine rhythm where all that is good already exists, drawing it from the unseen into visibility. Gratitude isn't a conclusion, it is creation itself. So I tell you, never let a single sunrise or sunset pass without blessing the word written on your mirror. Don't delay your thanks until wealth arrives. Offer it now. Greet your reflection with joy. Point toward your decree and affirm, "I thank and praise you that this is already reality. My wealth is present. My prosperity is secured. My abundance is active, under grace and in perfect harmony." Let joy well up in you as though the evidence already rests in your hands, and soon it will. Joy is the sound of the harvest coming to fruition, and gratitude is the rain that makes it grow. See every act of thanksgiving as watering your field of good. Each grateful phrase moistens the soil. Every joyful word brings life to your seed. Every smile of faith calls the light of heaven down upon your garden. When the season matures, your harvest will not be of sweat and hardship, but of favor and plenty. For gratitude enriches the roots of miracles, and the heart that rejoices will never dwell in lack. Now, beloved, let us bring this circle to completion. The word upon your mirror was never meant to stay apart from you, hovering like something distant or foreign. The true secret of demonstration lies in unity, the fusion between you and the word itself. Until you recognize the decree as your very name, you will always chase it like a stranger. But when it becomes your identity, when you can gaze into your reflection and calmly say, "This is me," the invisible world rushes to take form. The subconscious doesn't argue with identity. It accepts it, amplifies it, and manifests it. Whatever title you give yourself, life repeats it. That is why the mirror is sacred. It forces you to confront your own reflection with the truth beside it. It merges image with affirmation. You don't merely utter, "Money obeys May." You see yourself joined with that command until your inner self proclaims, "This is who I am." A man who calls himself poor can never embody wealth, no matter how hard he works. A woman who identifies with lack will repel blessings even as they approach. But the one who looks within and says, "I am abundance. I am prosperity. I am divine supply in motion," will witness every condition bow to that truth. I once had a student weary of defeat. She had recited affirmations for years, but always as if they belonged to someone else. Money is coming. Prosperity is near. Her words carried no ownership, and so the results were weak. I instructed her to face her reflection and declare, "I am prosperity. Money serves me now. Abundance is my nature." At first it sounded strange, even audacious, but repetition carved identity. Day by day, her hesitation dissolved and her confidence grew. She stopped hoping for prosperity and began to live it inwardly. Soon her circumstances reflected it, debts vanished, opportunities multiplied, her wallet overflowed. The phrase had transformed from theory to being. So I ask you, what label are you wearing? When you face your mirror, do you call yourself struggling, cursed, or unfortunate? Do you bind yourself with names that repel wealth? Then remove those false garments and clothe yourself in truth. Write your decree boldly. Face it daily. Declare, "This is my name. I am supply. I am abundance. I am provided for by divine law. Speak it not as a plea, but as an announcement. Speak it as fact. For once you know, the universe must reflect your knowing. Identity is the greatest decree of all. You can affirm endlessly that wealth will come, but the moment you say and believe, I am wealth, the manifestation is immediate. The world always mirrors the vision within. Beloved, let us uncover the thief that steals more abundance than any external cause: fear. Fear is not harmless emotion, it is reversed faith, a dark declaration that commands lack. Every fear is an instruction to your subconscious. Every anxious thought plants a seed of scarcity. Fear names evil, and the impartial law fulfills what it is given. Fear calls money as foe instead of ally, and money, faithful to your command, obeys. A man once obsessed over a disease he dreaded. He memorized its symptoms, rehearsed its reality until his body mirrored it. His imagination baptized his flesh with that image, and his subconscious carved it into form. Another woman, desperate for supply, whispered constantly, "It will never come. I will be left behind." Each sigh over her bills was a negative decree, and so lack clung to her. Fear is not silence, it is speech. Speech is law. Therefore, fear creates false outcomes. But the same law that enforces fear's decree will also serve faith's. Fear can build prisons, but faith can open them. Fear can sow weeds, but faith plants wheat that overtakes them. Cancel every false decree of fear. Speak aloud, all fearful records are erased, they hold no power. I now proclaim truth. I am fearless, abundant, supplied by divine order. Each declaration cuts a new record, and the old fades away. Replace every fearful thought instantly, not by struggle, but by substitution. Say, I can afford this under grace, instead of, I can't. Say, money multiplies for me, instead of, it always leaves. Every substitution carves a fresh groove in your inner record. In time, only the melody of truth remains. Never wrestle with darkness, replace it with light. And now, beloved, we turn to the towering illusion of lack, the great wall that seems immovable. But lack is not substance, it is shadow built from fearful words. When truth is spoken, shadows vanish. The Israelites did not conquer Jericho by striking stone. They raised a shout, and the vibration toppled the walls. So must you do. Stand in silence, gather your conviction, then proclaim, the walls of limitation crumble now. I walk freely into my promised land under grace and in perfect ways. Speak it until the wall lies flat in your mind. Soon life will follow suit. Do not call lack permanent, call it nothing. Perhaps you say, but my debts are heavy, my income small. That is all the more reason to speak. The larger the wall, the greater your triumph. Do not wait for evidence. Speak it into being now. Say it until joy floods you. The unseen must bend to the decree. Once lack falls away, you must place money in its rightful position, or else the old bondage returns. Money is not tyrant nor idol, but servant and tool. It clothes, feeds, and blesses when rightly named. Misunderstood, it enslaves. Every soul carries a perfect divine blueprint. Your vocation, your health, your supply, all inscribed by Spirit. When you align with that design, money flows effortlessly, naturally, continually. I once guided a woman enslaved to the chase. She labored in jobs she despised, stayed in company that drained her, terrified that disobedience to money meant ruin. I told her, you have reversed the order. You are master, not slave. Speak it so. Her decree became, money is sacred, obedient, and serves me under grace. At first it felt false. Then the truth took root. Peace replaced panic, and money began to arrive without struggle. Opportunities aligned with her gifts. She discovered the rhythm of divine ease, where supply flows like a calm river. Ask yourself, have you crowned money as ruler or restored it to service? Until you name it correctly, peace cannot stay. But the moment you affirm, money is divine, it serves me joyfully, you return to your perfect pattern. Money then becomes friend, not tormentor, a willing helper in the great play of life. And finally, beloved, we reach the hidden door marked forbidden. The world warns, do not speak boldly of wealth, do not command it. Yet truth hides behind that veil. What people call forbidden is often merely concealed from the timid. Every secret of heaven yields to faith. Just as Ali Baba's treasure cave opened not by force but by word, Your supply awaits its right command. Speak the decree, and what was sealed is revealed. A student once feared to declare abundance, thinking it prideful. I told her, "You are not seizing what is not yours. You are claiming what has always belonged to you." She obeyed, and her debts dissolved like mist. The law had waited for her courage. So I ask, what has fear forbidden you to claim? Wealth, ease, command, these taboos are lies. The universe withholds nothing except from those who refuse to name their inheritance. So I urge you, live beyond the forbidden. Write your word. Speak it daily. Refuse to tremble before illusions. The treasures of heaven are not locked, they await your voice. Once you dare to command, the gates open and you walk freely into your inheritance. We have journeyed far. From the moment you learn that money answers its name, through the mirror's mystery, through fear's shadow and faith's substitution, to divine design itself. Now comes the seal. A word heard inspires, but a word spoken transforms. So stand before your mirror and say, "Money, you are divine and obedient. You serve me now under grace and in perfect ways. You bless and never bind me." Speak it not as plea but decree, not as hope but certainty. Repeat until your whole being vibrates with it, until heaven and earth answer as one. Do not treat this as lesson but as law in motion. Write the word tonight. Guard it. Believe it. Let it merge with your reflection until your name and abundance are the same. Then watch debts vanish, walls fall, and supply flows like light through open doors. For heaven has waited not on chance, but on your voice. And when your blessing arrives, and it will, bear witness with joy. I called money by its name, and it answered.